Greetings world, greetings Africa, greetings Uganda. We are the agency, the people. We are Anonymous-Uganda. The Uganda government has over the time been changing the constitution in favor of Museveni and his group of people in power, which has constantly endangered Ugandans and other people in the region. We are not going to stand by and watch the continued atrocities of this regime prevail as our country, the Pearl of Africa, go down the drainage. We will not stand by and watch while the government controlled by Museveni and his family of deception rips away from all of us the freedom that our forefathers granted us, freedoms that were fought for, bled for, that our ancestors and even most of our fathers died for. We must ensure that their blood was not shed in vain, that their lives were indeed lost for a great nation that is not yet lost. We refuse to let the government destroy our ways of life. The regime insists on labeling whoever condemns the atrocities and murders it commits as terrorists, but the truth is, who do we terrorize? It is probable that the Uganda government is truly afraid of we, the people. Nevertheless, the time for our redemption is now. It is time to remind Museveni that we, the people, are the ones who hold the power of this country, not him and his family. Ugandans have realized that the current government is no longer functional, our economy is unstable, our leaders are uncooperative and our systems destroyed. For years voting has been useless. Museveni and his people are the leaders in every sector in this country. You have taken our brothers and sisters in the military to fight your orchestrated wars as mercenaries and losing lives away from their sole cause of joining the forces. Their love and will to serve and protect their country has been defied, instead being used as a source of your personal income. Museveni has continuously hired out our military men and women to work as militias to protect other dictators, for example in Equatorial Guinea, Burundi, Congo, and other areas. This government has engineered massacres and terror groups in various regions like Somalia, South Sudan, Congo, and Burundi, all in the name of creating wars so that it can earn from the so-called peacekeeping missions and refugee settlements. This is all selfishness and greed to extort money from the Western world and America in pretense to fight terrorism and provision of settlements to refugees. This must stop. Peace must prevail in the region, and our military men and women should serve their purpose of protecting their country Uganda with equal respect accorded to them, plus their families, as well as ensuring proper compensation when they lose their lives in battles, missing in action. To rebuild our government, we must first destroy it. Our time for democracy is now. Our time for revolution is now. This is Uganda's time for revolution, to restore our constitutional rights and the pride of our country, the Pearl of Africa, and once again be free. Therefore, the agency, together with Anonymous, along with other Ugandans and other freedom fighters, have openly declared war on this corrupt and dictatorial regime of Museveni. This is a call to arms. We call upon all Ugandans, both civilians, police, and the military, friends of Uganda, people of East Africa, fellow Africans, the world, all activists and hacktivists, to stand beside us in overthrowing this corrupt, murderous, brutal, ruthless, and dictatorial regime of Museveni. The African Union, European Union, United Nations, United States government, British, French, Israelites, Chinese, Russian, Indian, and all governments around the world, you have continuously supported and funded this regime as it restlessly brutalizes us. We therefore call upon all of you foreign powers to cut all your bilateral ties and relationship with this renowned dictator Museveni and join us to overthrow his regime and restore peace, freedom, justice, and stability in Uganda and the Great Lakes region. We desist from being a military state. We refuse the continued brutalities and inhuman rule by the very people in charge of our ever-growing taxes, funds, and resources meant to protect Ugandans and their properties. We will not allow one species of a corrupt family to control and destroy our future, our rights to build a life for ourselves, and our children. We declare freedom from government control, taxation, repossession, mysterious deaths, kidnaps, murders and censorship. We are putting an end to this regime's practices of land and properties grabbing without compensation, plundering country resources for individual benefits while leaving Ugandans to sink in poverty, and turning us into slaves on our land. Disrupting the education system, making it hard for ordinary Ugandans to afford as the regime promotes their own private schools which are only affordable by the few, hence neglecting the majority of the population. High rate of unemployment and unfair distribution of the few jobs that are available. This government has neglected the health sector, causing more than 150 deaths daily due to poor medical facilities regardless of the rich resources our country is blessed with. This is point enough to prove that the regime of Museveni is more of a terrorist's regime to its own people, and this was evidenced by the former ADF leader Jamil Mukuru when he confessed that Museveni gives them money and military equipment and logistics and also facilitates the M23 rebels. Millions of people have lost their lives since 1980 upon Museveni's formation of his rebel group NRA, and killing has never ceased till now. Lowero Triangle, Northern Uganda, Cases massacres, Mukula train massacre, Kampala bomb attacks at World Cup finals on 11 July, 2010, Mogadishu Somalia Safari Hotel bomb attack on 15 October, 2017, Congo massacres and many more. We will not allow the government to continue to violate our rights to freedom of speech and expression, through continued tailoring of unconstitutional laws intending to detain and imprison Ugandans, restraining them from exercising their constitutional rights and freedom. We stand against continued censorship to information, by restricting internet access, by imposing exorbitant taxes day after day, say on airtime, data, and OTT access and all basic necessities. Museveni's family of deception that took over all the country's parastatals and properties and continues to do so in disguise of privatization and foreign investor favors through land give-off, is now underway to privately take over and control the central bank and reserve, the Bank of Uganda, to plunder it fully, since they never account for the exorbitant taxes they collect from us, plus all the continuous loans from the World Bank and IMF. Since we have already lost control of the currency, the interest rates, running of the economy and witnessing the growing inflation year after year. Now, we need to return the control of all these to Ugandans where it belongs. You, the Uganda government, have overstepped your privileges for the last time. Our peace fractions, patience, tolerance, and restraints have been demonstrated, and we have watched and waited for our leaders from all sectors and communities to speak for Ugandans in vain, to protect us from the tyrants who sit in the State House and happily strips Ugandans their rights with every new executive orders. We have waited for long enough. With no hope of salvation unless we the people get our hands dirty into it. The Declaration of Independence establishes a supremacy of the people and the right and duty to defend their rights over the acts of the government. Our Constitution provides for as many protections as possible to ensure that the government is subservient to the people and only exits for the purpose of serving the people. However, should these protections fail, it is up to the people to raise up against the government and put it back in its place. In this capacity, the people act as the fourth branch of government to take control and to override their decisions which violate the fundamental rights of the people's lives, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. By what means do the people exercise their authority over the government? That depends on how resistant the government is to comply with the will of the people. In the case of Declaration of Independence, it means declaring war on the government and overthrowing it. We are everywhere. You have nowhere to hide, in the army, in police, in churches, in hospitals, in markets, in your malls, in your hotels, in your homes, in your offices, on your farms. We are watching all your steps, whatever you do and everywhere you go. we are around you, we eat with you, we sleep with you, and we commune with you. This is obviously a last resort after taking other steps less hash. Have we not tried? It's clearly the right and duty of Ugandans to overthrow this dictatorial government in order to restore our constitution rule and establish a government ready to serve the will of the people. To our brothers, sisters, fathers, and mothers in the armed forces, let us get ready to serve the true cause of our joining the forces, as we liberate and save our country from this deep mess. This is our duty. Fear and worry not, we are together and with you to the end. It's time to overthrow Museveni's tyranny regime and put an end to his life presidency ruling phenomenon filled with corruption, murders, brutalities, ruthlessness, massacres, assassinations, daylight kidnaps and many other undemocratic and unconstitutional practices. The time is now to restore peace, freedom, justice, and to do away with this tyranny and dictatorial regime. This is clearly established in historical precedent. This is the time, we have exhausted every option. Our government has ignored us. Now it's the time to overthrow this regime, to restart and establish a people's government. God bless Uganda, God bless Africa, God bless the world. For God, and our country. For peace, freedom, and justice we prevail. We are the agency, we are the people, we are anonymous, we are peace to humanity, we are fear to the atrocities, dictatorship, and censorship. We are the agency, we are the people, we are anonymous, we are legion, we do not forgive, we do not forget, expect us.
Corruption, greed, nepotism are things that is even making Ugandans more disgusted in the leadership of our party in government. I'm speaking to you this because I know you are my shield. And I have to be honest. My church told me to be very honest. I've told this to the president. I am not scared of calling a spade before anybody. If we don't restrain, if we don't control our greed on how we use public resource, how we steal with impunity, then Ugandans will push us out of power, and that will also be another transition. The hills of Kampala are expanding with the buildings, but schools, health centers are shrinking. So where do people get this money from? And who are the owners of these structures we see around? Commissioners, directors, ministers, permanent secretaries. So people get disgusted.